time for Paul Catalina's Top 5. Brought to you by Texas Beef House. Where's the best beef in Texas? Your house when you order from Texas Beef House. Unleash the flavor of Texas raised Wagyu. From our pasture to your plate, TexasBeefHouse.com.
Thank you to Texas Beef House, our new sponsor there.
By the way, Kim Coulter ordered online. And Friday when we mentioned them, put up the link, TexasBeefHouse.com. Paul?
Top 5 ACC QBs. We're going to do this as we move through spring football and see what kind of buzz we can get. This one was a little easier to do. Big Ten's going to be tough. There's some transfers. There's a lot of things going on there. The SEC was tough. We had a knockdown, drag-out fight. I thought Garrett was going to stab Jack. It's just how it goes. But top 5 ACC QBs. This is a kind of a quarterback heavy league at the top, but after these 5, there's a lot of mystery. Number 5, and he's coming off an injury-plagued season, but if he can come back and have a good, 6th year, Phil Jurkovec at Boston College. Now, we just talked a lot about Zay Flowers with David Hellman. He's missing his best weapon, although Zay Flowers was missing Phil Jurkovec for most of the year last year, but this is a dude who can play a little bit and could maybe get Boston College back in a bowl game. Their year was just so derailed by injuries last year. You just couldn't even expect anything from him, and not having him for a good large swath of it, not good.
Got bad news for you, Paul.
What? He's gone?
He's at Pitt now.
Oh, I knew it. Pitt. I knew he was at Pitt. That's stupid. Stupid.
Same conference.
Let's start it over. You know what, Craig, get out.
We've been doing this for nearly 3 years, and this has happened maybe 3 times.
Yeah, it happens. I just had it in my head. I was thinking about it. I knew he left. He's at Pitt. That's better for him. It'll work out for Pitt. Pretend that last shit didn't happen, and we're just moving on.
Well, okay. Boy,
just pretend. I don't care.
Emery, I'm sorry you heard that.
just
number 4.
Cade Klubnik.
Jeez.
I mean, it's the same conference, though, like I said, so
yeah. He's there. I knew it. Thank you for correcting me. But
you sure?
Yeah. No, I'm fine.
I mean, honestly, it's almost like you're taught, just pretend that wasn't said or whatever. And I agree, there's sometimes, but no, I'm not going to let that go.
No, I'm not.
I mean,
and if you wouldn't have brought it up, I would have.
Pretend I didn't say it.
If y'all ever did that to me, this place would burn
down. Well, there was
down.
one time there was something very subtle, and I remember it bothered you.
I don't like being wrong, and I don't mind being corrected. Don't do it in a jerk way, but I mean, if I'm wrong about something, let me know. Don't let me keep talking like I don't know what I'm talking about.
I would be so disappointed.
I was saying, rewind, forget that I said that he was at Boston College. That's what I was trying to forget about. Yes, he's good for Pitt.
I can't wait for the replay comments.
Yeah. If you have a comment on it, you can,
It's too late. They're already talking.
Yeah, don't care. It happens. I'm not perfect. Look at me. I'm fat and disgusting. So I'm not perfect. Number 4, Cade Klubnik from Clemson. This dude can ball, and he's got Garrett Riley now. So that means that they're going to be interesting to watch on offense. They have to take that step forward. That's why they made this change with Cade and sent a number 1 overall recruit all the way across the country in DJU going to Oregon State. It's kind of, this is not make or break for Clemson, obviously, but there's heat because there are good quarterbacks in this league. And the only reason I had Cade this low is just because he hasn't played all that much, but he's going to be surrounded with great talent, and I expect nothing but a ridiculous, fantastic year from him. But the ACC is much more in question now than it has been over the last, 6 years.
Yeah, I mean, I think, they need a little something new and fresh after the way, the DJU situation kind of came to an end there. And obviously Klubnik was involved, back and forth with DJU as far as the starting job goes. But you just kind of felt towards the end of the year that, there was a turning of the page that was going on. And, I think it makes sense to roll with Klubnik. I mean, you saw a lot of DJ Uiagalelei, and good luck to him at Oregon State, but it did feel like, in order to kind of turn the page, and I keep using that, but that Klubnik was the guy. And now with Garrett Riley, I think that's a fascinating hire. It just feels like Clemson's they're not stale, but and it's only been a couple years since, it's not like they've been in some massive downturn, but maybe I'm wrong on this, but it just kind of feels like they're, again, not stale, but they need a little bit of a little shake them.
They've been figured out a little bit.
Yeah,
like,
they don't have they're not as bulletproof as they maybe once were, and so they're starting to get figured out a little bit. So I'm fascinated to see now that it's fully Klubnik's team and they've got Garrett Riley there. That was obviously a big swing, and let's see what Dabo can do with that.
I've seen a couple of quotes, maybe from Clemson writers on Dabo Swinney when people have brought up maybe they're slipping. And, of course, he's a fiery guy, and he disagrees with that. And, well, now the season will begin in September.
Yeah, I think it just feels like they're at a point now where they could slip further if they don't kind of correct it. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. I mean, by slipping, they're clearly still one of the best teams in college football.
Yeah, but you can get stagnant. Yeah. And I think that they got stagnant, and part of it was just, Dabo Swinney really believed in his people. And sometimes you kind of have to
and the expectations
step outside
are just
of it.
So monumentally high, yeah.
And I don't think that they're not spinning out of control in the same conference FSU was last couple years of Jimbo and then into what they were until now. But they're not that. But you just run the risk of being a team that's consistent. But then you're going back to where was that you had before? How come you can't? Because they can get whoever they want. They recruit SEC players in the ACC. Alabama would want most of their roster, so it's not like they're not getting those guys.
He was asked after the bowl game about if Clemson is slipping. I know we got to go. I mean, I don't know. We were 11-3. Sure, I wish we were undefeated, but we've won the league 7 of the last 8. I think that's only happened one other time, and that was in the 70s by Alabama. We've been pretty consistent. We're going to continue to be consistent and keep trying to do everything we can to be undefeated around here. Then he went on to a few other things as well. But it is out there, and he knows it's out there, and sometimes coaches can handle it well. Sometimes they can get defensive.
Did he not know the history of his own league, the team that won the conference the first 15 years they were in it? So we won the league 7 of the last 8. I don't think it happened in the 70s. It happened in his own league from 1992 to 2005.
Yeah, but he can only talk about when he's been there. He's been there for not very long.
Yeah, but I mean he kind of know that. Number 3, Brennan Armstrong transfers from Virginia to NC State. This one I know for a fact is true. This one, he, did not work out with Tony Elliott, which really surprised me. I thought Tony Elliott was going to be good for him. Granted, last year in Virginia ended in tragedy, and before that even happened, they just were adjusting to the new system. He moves on to NC State, which is a really good system for him. They lose Devin Leary, who was my number 1 SEC quarterback last week. So Brennan Armstrong moves on to NC State. I think they'll still be someone to be reckoned with in the ACC, although, maybe not quite what they were a year ago, but I still think they're going to be good because Dave Doran's an excellent coach. And they're the team that people aren't going to talk about because they kind of play a bit of a boring style, based on today. But, man, they're efficient. They're really good. They're really efficient on both sides of the ball, and they don't mess around. And this is going to work out well, I think, for Brennan Armstrong.
Yeah, I mean, it's a good program. He's got connections there. Shouldn't have to have much of an adjustment period whatsoever. Yeah, it was a disappointing year last year for Virginia, just kind of all the way around. But he's a good player. He can make an impact.
Yeah. Number 2. Yeah, I did it. Drake Mays at number 2. He's great. He's going to be a top 10 pick, probably a top 5 pick. There's no doubt about that. But he's number 2 in this league.
Man, that garnet and gold, whatever it's called, is coming out in your head.
Oh, look. Go ahead and talk about Drake May for a second before I start singing a love song to Jordan Travis.
I just think the people who don't know that we went to FSU are confused. What is the big buildup?
Paul went to Florida
State. But he went to Florida State.
They're doing
for those
better.
That don't
they got
know.
a great quarterback coming back.
Yeah, Drake May's a great player. Obviously, we'll have all of the draft nicks talking incessantly about him, or if they haven't already started in on talking about him, even though he's not eligible yet. But, yeah, I mean, the countdown to his NFL draft selection feels like it's basically on, and what he can accomplish in Chapel Hill prior to that is the big question for every college football fan. Showed a lot of exceptional talent. Wasn't perfect by any means. I think just overall, considering the type of player you have, you better hope that Mac Brown can get a little bit more out of that before May moves on after next year. So that's the big thing to me is just, what can Mac squeeze out of having this terrific quarterback and the weapons around him. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to be a fun story to watch and obviously huge expectations.
Number 1, Jordan bleeping Travis. Look, the way he is, he's shot up the charts. I know that I am biased, and he closed the year so extremely well last year. They have got, like, the one thing that he has to do is the reason that they weren't better last year, and the reason that you have some doubts is that the 3 teams they lost to were the 3 other good teams in the ACC. So they've got to start beating those teams. They've got to beat Clemson. Look, they're not spending all this money on the transfers and, raiding the portal to not beat Clemson. They've got to beat Clemson this year and take that step. If not, this might all wind up being all for naught in a chance to make a run at the college football playoff this year. They returned a ton of players, really only lost one guy to the draft, Jamie Robinson, the safety. Everybody else is back, all the starters of a team that won 10, 11 games last year. So they are loaded for bear, or 10 games, I guess. They were 10-3 last year. They are loaded for bear. This guy gets better and better and better. He's a difference maker. It doesn't matter where you are in the game. He can bring you back. This dude can play. And again, he's a veteran, a 6th-year guy, probably why even I might have put him above Drake May, even if I was not bleeding garnet and gold, as you can see it flying out of my eye sockets right now. But Jordan Travis is that dude.
Never has anything been mentioned and had a longer discussion than this one with Jordan Travis at 1.
No. Well, I mean, if you're going to sing a love song, you got to make it count.
Craig?
Yeah, he's a really good player. The expectations for them are massive now at this point. I mean, the build-up's been there for the last few months. But, yeah, I mean, if FSU doesn't win the ACC next year, I think that's a disappointment. And I'm not of the Knoll tribe, so, I mean, maybe others see it differently. But you can't explain to me how they shouldn't be expected to win the ACC next year. I mean, just because of Clemson?
Yeah.
I mean, that's the only reason, right?
Yeah, I would beat him in a few years.
Everybody's come back. Everybody's come back, basically. Coaching staff, everybody's bought into that. Everybody's excited again. They're winning again. I mean, they should be the favorites, and, yeah, I don't see why he shouldn't be, the number 1 guy unless you just like somebody's skill set a little bit better. But, no, he's a great player, and, yeah, he and the Knowles have some big shoes to fill next year.
Yeah, the reason you keep all the guys and you get all the transfers is because of him right there, really.
Yeah, you never know. All right.